Hey guys, we're back here at our character scene and we're going to be working on the construction of our hair shader. First of all, you can see that I did a little bit of a tweaking for the lights. This is mainly to show a little bit more of the face of the character, so a little bit more light in the scene in general. But we might be changing this depending on the effect we want. Now, you do want a nice lighting setup for your hair because otherwise it's not gonna look, it's not gonna show, right? So in this case, I'm gonna import the model from our project files. Oh, that's the old project. So let's go to our new project, this one right here. And I believe we have a floor. The reason I want the floor is because I want just a square to map all the hair textures. I'm gonna go here into the transform options and modify this to like a 0.2, 0.2, and 0.2. Maybe even more. Let's go 0.05. 0.258. Okay, that's better. This is roughly the size of the hair right here on the character. Cool. So let's start building our shader. I'm gonna create a new shader here. I'm gonna call this hair, and I'm gonna assign this to this plane right here. Now I'm gonna load our scene on the off screen right here very quickly, and we're just gonna start plugging in the textures. So we're gonna go one by one so that you can see the difference and how it looks, and we're gonna start. Let me list this as details because I want to see which ones are the target files. There we go. So let's start with the diffuse. Diffuse is very easy. So diffuse just goes into the albedo map. There we go. Wait, where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, so see, the color is there, but there's a lot of glossiness right now. So let's get that solved real quick. I'm gonna grab my specular, and the specular is gonna go here in the specular map, which is, as you're gonna notice, it's gonna be very intense there on the whole element. That's totally fine. Let's do the normal map real quick right here. You can see the normal map immediately gives us the details that we're looking for, so the relief of the different hairs. You're gonna see this is unavoidable. We're gonna have anti-aliasing, and that's something that, again, it's rather unavoidable due to the fact or due to the way that hair is constructed. So unfortunately, until games start using like actual fibers, this is something that's going to happen. You're going to have some anti-aliasing on the elements. We can solve it with some post-processing methods and with more sampling, but right now it's going to be there. And then we need the direction map. That one's very easy. Here in the specular, we're actually going to change the specular to advance, or sorry, in secondary refraction, we're going to use anisotropic. There we go. And in the anisotropic element here, you're going to have a direction map, and that's where you're going to place the direction map for your element. So look at that. What that's going to help is it's going to help the hair shine in the way that hair usually shines, and that's by moving the shininess throughout the whole element of the, or the whole root of the hair, right? Now, one thing that you're going to be changing a lot is the specularity. For instance, we really don't want that much shininess. That's like metallic hair, and we don't want that. So we have a little bit of specularity, probably something like that. And then with glossiness, we're also going to be controlling this, depending on how dry or wet we want the hair to look. But look at that. That looks good. Now we're going to go for one of the most important ones, which is the transparency. And the transparency is going to be all the way down here in the transparency node. You're going to click here and you're going to add a cutout. The reason we're adding cutout is because we are going to use an alpha map. Now, you can see here that it's trying to use the alpha map from the albedo color. You could have that information there, but I personally like to have it as a separate map to get a little bit more resolution per se. So we're going to do this. And instead of using the alpha channel, we're going to use the art channel. And look at that. That looks really nice. Okay, so that's pretty much our haircuts. That's what we're going to be seeing. Of course, there's one thing that we're going to do. We're going to call back the faces, or we're going to deactivate that so we can see the hair on both sides. And this already is looking really good. However, there's a couple or one extra thing which I believe is the pinnacle of the whole thing, the most important, one of the most important things, and that is the ambient occlusion. So I'm going to go here into the occlusion panel. I'm going to add an ambient occlusion. Now, instead of adding the ambient occlusion here, we're actually going to add it here in the cavity map. And what the cavity will do is it will add some sort of fake depth to our element. And check this out. So if I grab my ambient occlusion and drag it right there in the cavity map, immediately we're going to get a more interesting looking element. Look, this is the difference. This is very flat, and this is actually hair going inside. Now we can definitely change how much we want, for instance, the diffuse or the specularity to be affected by this cavity map. I'm probably gonna reduce it a little bit because it was getting a little bit too dark. And now it's time to just start tweaking it in such a way that it looks okay. Now, the reason why I got it here, or I got this into the scene, is because you need to actually visualize how the hair is reacting to the light. So, for instance, here I noticed that it is a little bit too shiny for my taste. So maybe get rid of some of the Fresnel and reduce a little bit of the intensity there on the specularity. So that way the hair starts looking a little bit more realistic. We are gonna get that shine. If you want like a very dry hair, then we will need to probably go with like a very, very low gloss, like that. That's gonna be a very, very flat hair. It's pretty much not gonna be a lot of shininess there, and we definitely want to have a little bit of shininess reacting to the light. So that's it, guys. This is probably this is the summary of the whole setup. There's an extra thing that we're gonna have to be doing with the hair later on, which has to do with subsurface scattering to make it look a little bit nicer. But that's gonna happen until we have all of our hair cards placed on our character. And from this point on, we're gonna be working back and forth between all these three processes. We're still missing the last process to explain, which is the creation of the actual cards. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest. But after that, we're gonna be working with placing the cards, checking how they look here in Marmoset, and then going back into Maya, fixing the placement, fixing the fibers. If we see that something's not working, like for instance, if I feel like this is way too thick for the hair or for how I want the hair to look, then we probably will have to go back and do another series of bakes. But the cool thing is everything, or the whole pipeline, is already set up, so it's gonna be really, really fast to just move from one position to the next one. So hang on tight, guys, and I'll see you back in the next video where we explore the creation of the actual hair cards. Bye bye.